Today I'm making the land, sea, air, and space McDonald's burger. The land portion is a quarter-pounder beef patty because beef walks on land. Now to go 10,000 leagues under the sea with that beautiful fish. It is already looking good. For the air portion, we've got a beautiful chicken sandwich. Ooh, oh wow, we got something going on here. My mind's telling me no.
It's cuffing season and all the boys be needing.
Need a fat girl, want a fat girl, give me a fat girl.
That anti-fatness is rooted in misogyny, racism, colonialism, and has evolved to be a major tool of patriarchal capitalism. And we've discovered that the way to truly make everyone better and happier is to love ourselves in a way that is rebellious and authentic.
Over the past decade, a new genre has exploded on YouTube, one that blurs the line between food, fame, and self-destruction. Mukbangs, food challenges, cheat days on steroids. What started as quirky content quickly exploded into high-stakes spectacles of excess. Now, for some, it was empowering. For others, it was entertainment. But for the content creator, it was income. Merch, sponsorships, Patreon, YouTube ad revenue, OnlyFans, they all became a part of the machine. But behind the success was often a silent killer, the health consequences of morbid obesity. But this wasn't just about food. It was about attention. And if it's one thing we know, is that the YouTube algorithm rewards extremes. As views went up, so did the portions. As the audience grew, so did the health concerns. But like any train wreck, viewers could not look away. So what did the content creators do? They leaned into it, turning weight gain into a brand. Their suffering became a profitable business model. And the stats are worrisome. Nearly 3 in 4 US adults are now considered overweight or have obesity. That's a big problem. In fact, a 2024 study published in the medical journal The Lancet predicts that overweight and obesity rates will continue to rise at least through 2050. And according to the American Heart Association, between 1999 and 2020, there are over 280,000 obesity-related deaths in the United States. Obesity is the second leading cause of preventable deaths in the US, but when it's packaged as content, those consequences fade into the background. Now let's talk about the content creators who did not survive. But before we do that, let's be real. The internet loves turning obesity into content, but when it comes to actual results, crickets. That's where today's sponsor, Mochi Health, comes in. They're a modern doctor-led weight care program that uses real tools like GLP-1 medications to help people lose weight and keep it off. No fad diets, no more just eat less and move more dismissive statements, but personalized medical care that actually works. With Mochi, you get access to board-certified physicians who actually listen, help you find the right plan, and support you through the process virtually. It's science-backed, affordable, and built for real people like you. The best part? You can get started from the comfort of your couch. So use the code K133KT for $40 off your membership fee if you sign up to Mochi. So check out the link in the description to see if you qualify and learn more. Now, back to the video. So let's start with TikTok star Taylor Lejeune, also known as Waffler69. He racked up nearly 2 million followers on TikTok and was known for his very creative and sometimes crazy food combinations. So what happened to him? Well, his brother confirmed that he died of a heart attack. He was taken to the hospital and an hour and a half later, he was gone. Now here's the kicker. Both Taylor's father and his grandfather both died of heart failure before the age of 50. Then there's the case of Dr. Caitlin Passe, a fat-positive activist known as the Professor of Fat Studies, who died in 2022 at the age of 42. Take a listen to this interview where she's grilled by a reporter about her fat-positive stance.
Told about obesity, we're in the middle of an epidemic, extra body weight causes, heart problems, diabetes. What do you say to that?
I think it does definitely fly in the face of what most of us tend to believe and what our common sense maybe even tells us. But I think that the science isn't actually as clear-cut as we like to believe, and there's not really quite a consensus yet about the real relationship between weight and health.
How is the science not clear-cut? Because we get these statistics about how many people die each year of extra weight contributing to things like heart disease and diabetes. So where do you see that the stats aren't correct?
Well, I think in a lot of different ways. So in terms of the stats that you just mentioned about weights attributed to death, quite often what we find is that what studies do is they'll look at people who die, and if anyone is fat in that sample, they'll say, well, they died because of their weight. When, of course, it could have been a range of things, including diseases like you just mentioned. One thing that's really in vogue in the literature right now is we see a lot of articles about what they call the obesity paradox. And this is research that's finding that obese people and even morbidly obese people have just as good of health or sometimes even better health than people who are in the healthy weight ranges. So they're calling that the obesity paradox.
Okay, so are you saying now that being overweight or being obese isn't necessarily a bad thing for your health?
I'm saying that there are healthy fat people just like there are healthy non-fat people, and there are probably unhealthy fat people just as there's unhealthy non-fat people.
One of the things people often say is that you can be fat and healthy. I've heard people say, well, I've seen fat people running the marathon or the half marathon or a 5K. And that's true. I have seen those individuals, but that doesn't mean that they're healthy. Those cases are anomalies. That's not the majority of people. The majority of people who are overweight have severe problems running 5Ks, half marathons, or marathons. People fail to understand that being overweight takes a huge toll on the human body. It increases your risk of chronic diseases like high blood pressure, can put you at risk for diabetes. Many of them are pre-diabetic. It can lead to back pain, joint pain, infertility, and certain types of cancer. And a lot of these content creators don't talk about that. If you're significantly overweight, and you're diabetic or you're pre-diabetic and you're a woman, you could expect to have more frequent yeast infections. Another thing that people who are overweight and selling this stuff online do not tell people. I think attempting to normalize the very thing that contributes significantly to these ailments is misguided. Let's talk about Brittany Sauer. She's another body positivity influencer who was obese and passed away at the age of 28. Now, the very same people who were in her comments section goading her on, supporting her, telling that the people who were commenting about her weight and urging her to get help were haters, are now dropping RIP in the videos and in the comment section, and then that's it. They leave and they move on to somebody else because she is no longer here. And then there's Jamie Lopez. It's a lot of people, but Jamie Lopez starred in the reality TV show Super Size Salon. Well, she died from heart complications, and she was only 37 years old. Here she is on the screen. You can see her walking with her walker. She was extremely unhealthy. And she had mentioned on the show that she was considering having some sort of weight loss surgery, but unfortunately, she passed away. And finally, there's Efekan Kultur. He was a famous TikToker from Turkey who also was famous for his binge eating videos. And sadly, he passed away at the age of 24. You see the trend? I want to talk about how this whole thing has become very cult-like. Naturally, when you are that size, you're going to attract trolls. So there are individuals who will come out and just bash these individuals left, right, and center. That happens. You can't deny that that happens. But what I've seen too are a lot of comments that are or show that the individual is very concerned and caring about that influencer's weight and the fact that they're on a crash course with a heart attack or they might drop dead. Those individuals are typically run out of the comment section. They're bashed repeatedly. People think that they're just hating. And I even see it on the other side too, in the sense that individuals who were morbidly obese or just overweight, the minute they say that they're going to lose weight for their health, the individuals who followed them for their size or for their crazy, outrageous food creations or their eating habits all of a sudden turn on those content creators. We've seen that even in the entertainment world. It happened again with Lizzo and Monique, most famously, because those two ladies were always screaming body positivity and loving the size that you were in until they were like, okay, for health reasons, I need to slim down. And then the individuals who were following them and felt that they were in some sort of communion with them turned on them. So that happens as well. And that mindset is pervasive across many different spheres. I think it's very important too for us to talk about the media's role and responsibility in all this. It's not just the creators. The platforms have a role in this. The viewers have a role in this. You, me, everybody else who is tuning into this stuff, we play a significant role in this because we're feeding the machine. We're rewarding these extremes. We're telling people it's okay to be fat. It's okay to be overweight to the point where you could drop down dead from a heart attack because it entertains us. The bigger, the louder, the more outrageous, the more clicks, the more views, the more money. I think what's most sad is that the fact that we cheer on these individuals who are clearly on a self-destructive path because we want to be entertained. You'll often see fights inside of the comments section where people will weigh in and say, listen, I think you should lose some weight for your own good so you don't fall dead in your 20s or your 30s. And those individuals were often told to shut up and mind their own business. It has nothing to do with them. And sometimes the content creators sided with those people who were like, yeah, mind your own business. I love my body. Stop body shaming me, leave me alone. And I think, like I said, for the individuals who are being toxic and just being nasty and trolling, I could certainly understand just ignoring those individuals. But the underlying message is your health is at risk. Your life is in jeopardy. And I don't think that those content creators should have ignored that. But again, when you're feeding the machine, and this is how you're now making your money, you're making your money from your weight, from the extremes. If you try to pivot and you try to do that stuff, then you lose the views, you lose the money, and people will turn on you. That happens all the time. I think we have to get to this place where we marry body positivity with health honesty, being honest with people. You know, if you're 400 pounds, there's no way that's healthy. There's no way it's healthy. And to tell people that they're fine, they're perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with them, and they should love the skin. You shouldn't hate yourself when you look in the mirror. I'm not advocating for people to hate themselves. I would never want anybody to look in the mirror and hate themselves. I would not want anybody to walk down the street and hate themselves. I would not want that. But health really is the overall goal. And if you want to be here for a very long time, if you care to be here for a very long time, then you have to make those changes. And people have to have the latitude to be able to express those things in a nice fashion, of course, but certainly not shut their mouths when they see people on a crash course for collision. No, not at all. I think about the rapper Dave Blunt, I think that's his name, who often is on stage with an oxygen tank and he can't even stand up and perform. He has to sit down most of the time. And it's like the audience is cheering him on and they might like his music, but just looking at him looks painful. And it's like, if he doesn't reverse course, he could possibly join the ranks of these individuals who have fallen dead. He's just too big. And again, people have to be able to say that without folks feeling like they're just hating or just trying to be toxic. Because like I said, and we saw it with the other content creator that I mentioned earlier, the minute she dropped dead, they moved on to the next thing. You're not there to entertain them anymore. They quickly move on. I think it's possible for you to still love yourself and want to be healthier. It's not a compromise. It's not an either or. You can love yourself and say, listen, I know I'm out of shape and I can do better, but I love myself in the current form, but I know I need to do better. You know, you don't have to hate yourself in order to become healthier. You can love yourself and then love yourself even more once you get healthier. So it's not a compromised situation. You know, it's not either or. It's just like, it just kind of gave me pause and made me think like, maybe we need to have that conversation and just be honest with one another, because sometimes people just are so concerned about not hurting people's feelings that they don't tell them the truth. You have to also be realistic about your body. I'm just saying. Anyway, drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think. If you're somebody who has struggled with your weight, how has that journey been? I have friends who have struggled for years with their weight. It's not an easy thing. And another thing I would say too, for those of you who are trying to lose weight, obviously check out my sponsor, Mochi Health, number one. But also be patient with yourself. If it took you 5 years to put on the weight, you're not going to lose it in a month. You're not going to lose it in 6 months. You're not going to lose it in a year. But you do have to make changes. You have to decide that it's time to change. So I would definitely say be gentle with yourself, but be gentle with yourself, but don't go so easy that you don't do the work to make the change in your life. That makes sense. That makes sense. What do people say? Does that make sense? It makes sense. Anyway, drop your comments down below. Follow me across social media platforms on Instagram, at ThisBahamianGyal, on my blog at ThisBahamianGyal.com. If you're listening to the podcast version, you want to see the video, which I suggest you do. I really suggest you do. Please go to youtube.com/ThisBahamianGyal. And if you want to come back to this video, which, you know, this is one of those evergreen content videos, you can certainly come back and watch this at any time. By the way, before I go, I don't think I introduced myself in the beginning, and I know a lot of you are new here on my platform. So my name is Rogan. This is the ThisBahamianGyal podcast. On my platform, I do social commentary and reaction videos. I encourage my audience to have private conversations in public. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Toodles.